Hello. Welcome back to the Gay Racing Podcast. Zack and Alex are back with you to talk about NASCAR at Phoenix. We actually have some interesting things to talk about. It wasn't just a boring Phoenix race. I'm not here to complain about the next-gen car. We got to talk about tires, the option tires. We're going to talk about that. Did that make the race better? We're going to talk about Christopher Bell again. What else are we going to talk about, Alex? We got Katherine Legge's Cup debut. Didn't go so well. We're going to talk about her. My sweet girl. We'll talk about her. And then some other little notes. Oh, God. We got... I was looking it up. We got to complain about Fox Sports. Nothing's new.
There's plenty to talk about with Fox Sports.
It's another typical episode of the Gay Racing Podcast. If you're new here, well, we're gay. If you didn't know, now you do.
Yeah, so, fun fact. Zach's a little gayer, though. It's okay, though.
Whatever that means.
Support him anyway.
Whatever that means. I don't know what that means. That's very inappropriate, Alex. Anyway, so NASCAR at Phoenix, tires. The option tire was the story of the weekend. That's why I like about NASCAR. There's always a completely different story every weekend. Nothing's ever the same. It's our first real race of the season, by the way. First real race of the season. Great to see, who had what. We'll talk about, Bell later, right? Let's talk about the tires and what a lot of people have, or what Goodyear and NASCAR have been using the option tire for. It's a way to test these softer tires on newer tracks like Phoenix. Like they've used them at Wilkesboro and Martinsville and road courses, but Phoenix, yeah, it's kind of a short track, but it's still pretty fast. You're carrying a lot of speeds in the corner. Goodyear, rightfully or not, has anxiety about bringing in the softer tire there. So having an alternate compound that's softer is kind of a safety net, because if it doesn't work, well, you still got the primaries that are harder. Now, a lot of people, well, I feel like it's already been talked about, Alex. Softer tires make for better racing. Would you agree?
At least in this case, yeah.
What I want to really talk about today, though, is having a second alternate compound and what that did for the racing.
And I think, Zach, that is going to be something NASCAR needs to figure out, if that's the path they want to do, or if they're just going to keep doing these little tests to try and plan for future single tires. And I think that is a question that us fans are trying to figure out, and what NASCAR is trying to figure out, because we've only seen this a handful of times, and it's not a full-time thing. But you're more of a fan of having it everywhere, it sounds like, or more often.
Well, I don't know yet. That's the thing. Do you want me to explain my kind of thoughts on it? Because I've been thinking about it a lot. I just found it so fascinating because what it was able to do for the strategy. Ryan Preece put them on in stage one, which really was not a smart strategy.
Stage points.
But you know what I meant. In terms of having a good finishing position, that's not the default strategy, right? He went off the beaten path. It gave crew chiefs options, which is always fun. We like to make our crew chiefs think. And it was a pass cars for free button. He got to pass all those cars, get track position. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Gimmicky. Well, girl, welcome to NASCAR. I mean, green, white checkers.
Welcome
playoffs.
To sports. There's gimmicks in all of them. It's okay. Fine.
Whatever that means. But green, white checkers and restrictor plates. And
I don't like all the gimmicks.
Green, whatever. I mean, there's so many gimmicks in NASCAR. I'm not going to draw the line at option tires. Trust me.
No.
But yeah, the strategy was able to create. I just feel Phoenix has always been talked about as a really boring race, even though I've personally enjoyed some of the championship races the last few years. And obviously a softer tire is going to make Phoenix racing better. But having two compounds where strategy can really kind of explode into a bunch of different branches, for now, I kind of like the idea. I think it's something NASCAR can use if racing is really bad at a track. For example, Bristol last year in the fall, that really bad race. Listen, if there's no other way we can fix Bristol racing, try having two compounds, and also that could then test for just a softer compound in the future, right? So it's kind of serving two purposes. It's a test, but it's also just right now, this will make the racing better, so might as well just do it, right?
And I think that's the cool thing, is that it emphasizes the strategy, because we've seen Phoenix and Richmond really become strategy races. And with this kind of tire option, it just adds another layer of strategy, makes it more compelling to watch. Hopefully, the networks will figure it out, or at least one of the networks will figure
Oh
out
my
how to
God.
cover this properly.
Can I
But
go ahead?
yeah,
What, Fox? What are you doing? How hard is it to add a little Goodyear icon or a little tire that's red or yellow? Is it that hard? No one knows what OPT means.
it just says
No one knows what
opt.
that means. At least it's not like what NBC last year where it said slicks and wet.
Why don't they just do what NBC did for IndyCar with the tires, both for Fox's IndyCar and NASCAR coverage?
It's not hard.
They're overcomplicating it. I don't
It's not hard.
understand.
It's just make
do
a
a
little
dot.
circle or even
Yeah.
just a dot. Stage one, they had the names highlighted in red, which honestly, that was fine too. Just, I don't even know. Just stop making it too hard. It's not that hard. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, we talked about how NASCAR is really experimenting with these tires, but the teams are as well. You mentioned Ryan Preece, but Joey Logano, his team used up his option tires early, and they didn't really recover from that. They finished 13th, 22 did. That's what the one case I can think of that was like they just used all their tires early. And that was obviously not the move, so I'm curious what the plan there was.
You remember they kind of did that because they lost their track position too, like from that penalty.
Right.
So
and what did you speak of the penalty though? What did you think of that?
I mean, it makes sense. You got to make the call somewhere. I just wish they had a different way of like marking where you couldn't go, because I think it was also confusing for the fans because a lot of the fans didn't know that was a rule, right? Because it's only a thing at Phoenix where that's a rule. I wish there was there was a line that went like along the racetrack, like along the way the cars go, that kind of showed where you can go. But then I don't know. It's a black and white call. Joey hit the mark. They're race car drivers. They know where they're putting their car. I mean, not much to say. And if people that are upset about it, like, girl, you're upset when they don't make calls. Like, people complained about restarts, like Denny Hamlin jumping the restart last year at Richmond. You guys complained that they didn't call that, right? Even though it was a really black and white thing. Well, that was a black and white thing, and it was pretty simple to call to me from what I saw on Fox. So I have no problem with it. Don't break the rules.
No,
especially
same. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
And now let's go back to tires. One of our Patreon members, Chris, said, I think NASCAR finally has the right tire for Phoenix. I thought the option tire did exactly what it was meant to do, making this one of the best spring races I can remember. And I think that's a fair point. I think this is probably one of the better Phoenix spring races. But I'm curious, Zach, you want more tracks to do this. You mentioned Bristol. At what point, because you said you don't want it everywhere, but at what point how far can they go with it?
That's what's confusing to me.
Do they test this at Pocono? Do they test this at Mile and a Half? Do they put it on like a Kansas, which is already good, and just add another element to that? What do you think?
Well, if they keep this as just a mechanism to test compounds, then we'll probably see it a few races a year or whatever. It is what it is. But if they use this as kind of my idea, where it's like this actually is an option to make the racing better because it adds strategy to it. You know, you got tracks like Sonoma. You have tracks like
Sonoma needs it.
New Hampshire, where it's also kind of hard to pass. Like those flatter, like really hard to pass. Any track where it's hard to pass, right? Because you know, a different compounded tire overtaking. I saw someone mention Pocono. I don't know. That doesn't even feel right. You know what I mean? It feels right on road courses. It feels right on short tracks. You know, and what I like about like IndyCar, for example, IndyCar traditionally, besides Gateway last year where they brought the alternate tires, you know, ovals, NASCAR style, just one compound. All the road courses and street courses, 2 compounds, right? We might change the colors because it's fun. but hey, whatever. That's where I kind of get confused because I would want consistency. Like the spring Phoenix race has alternate tires, but the fall Phoenix race won't. Stuff like that. That my brain doesn't like that. I want consistency, but I don't know. They're probably, to be honest, especially with all the fans complaining about like the option tire gimmicks, I think people would complain too much, and they're not gonna do this for like 10 races or 20 races in a season. However, Chris mentioning that this has been the best spring Phoenix race that he can remember, I think that's because there were 2 tire compounds. Like, yes, that compound was softer, but I mean, we didn't see it for the majority of the race. So You know what I mean? Like, I think I could argue that, yeah, a softer tire made the racing better if we saw that last run play out and we could see Ryan Preece's tires wear and stuff, but I don't know.
I
You know what
think
I
my
mean?
only complaint is that we didn't really see these option tires wear enough, because
Yeah.
typically this softer tire will be really, really fast, as we saw, obviously. It's like a just free pass button, essentially, is what it
Yeah.
was. But it needs to wear more, I think, for it to work properly, because it can't just be a
Yeah, have a
huge
crossover
temporary
point.
gain while you have it. Yeah, there needs to be a crossover, and you need to be able to save your tires and hold them back.
Eh,
And we didn't really have that with this tire. It was just like super, super
well,
fast, and they kind of wore at the same time, I felt like.
I get what you're saying, Alex, but there's also the other end of that I just thought of where you know how in IndyCar at St. Pete, you know, you want to get the greens off. You want to use them early, get them off or whatever. Like
Yeah.
everyone that started on greens, the caution came out, they got them off. Well, if you make them because you don't want them to also then be like really bad on a run where it's like they don't have that much speed for that many laps,
Mm-hmm.
where it's a disadvantage. Because then I feel like everyone's going to get rid of them in stage 1 or 2. You know what I mean? Because you don't want that
And just
either.
go for the stage points, but not the win, you're saying? Yeah.
I guess, because then I think it's more interesting when the soft tires are just a go fast button, and you know everyone's kind of holding on to them late, and you get to see them late. But some people might pull the trigger early. I think it's more interesting that way because it's more of an attack to base strategy than just a well, I got to use them. Was that a rule? They didn't have to use them, did they? Do they?
I would
It's not
imagine
like
they had to, but I don't know.
I don't know. It was. I don't think it's like IndyCar where you have to use each compound. I think you wouldn't because they're faster, but I don't think a team. I don't think a team would have had to. Rather, I don't think a team had to use the reds yesterday. Which, whatever.
It looks
I don't
like
know.
they were not required.
Yeah.
I'm trying
So
to
what I'm
confirm
saying
this.
is, if the red tires were, and we'll move on, because I keep talking about tires. The red tires. We're the gay tire experts again. Part 2. We're back. We're back. That was like one of our most watched episodes. I named the episode "The Gay Tire Experts," and like everyone was like clicking on it, being like, "Y'all gay people don't know stuff about tires. Shut your mouth." Anyways, but yeah,
it look from what I can find, it was not required, but
because if the red tires are bad, if they fall off too fast, then no one's going to use them. So you got to be careful about that.
That's a fair point. So let's talk about Christopher Bell, who did win this race again. 3rd win in a row for Christopher Bell.
I like him.
Did
I say that before? I just like him. He's just like, well, also what I love, he's been getting out of the car and he's just hype. He's happy.
He's so excited.
It's not Chase Elliott where he's like, man, thanks to the guys at the shop, Napa. Like Christopher Bell's like, that's what NASCAR racing's all about, fans. The fans, yeah, that was so awesome. That finish, man. I am a badass. I'm Christopher Bell. Like, he's so hype, right? And we saw that at Coda too, where he was talking about, man, that's how we have a race. That was some good, clean, respectful racing.
I like Bell a lot.
Remember when he won the Chili Bowl and he said, "Thanks, Joe Gibbs."
Yeah. So
I like when he gets out of the car.
Christopher Bell is the first driver to win 3 in a row since Kyle Larson in 2021, not Kevin Harvick in 2018, as Fox Sports told you. Larson did it twice, mind you, in 21. If Bell were to win Las Vegas, the last person to win 4 in a row was Jimmy Johnson in 2007.
I remember that. That was the first half season I watched NASCAR, and I remember that. Oh my God, what a run that was. It was Martinsville, and I sound like a boomer talking about back in 1980, I saw Bill Elliott lap the field 4 times. It was Martinsville, Atlanta, Texas, and Phoenix. And in each of those races, winning 4 races. Here's the thing, winning 3 races in a row in any motorsport is incredible. Doing it in the next gen era at a super speedway, at a road course, at a short track, whatever short tracks mean, that is incredible. That is just incredible. Not only just being incredibly skilled, because we know Christopher Bell is skilled. He did not luck into any of those wins, but he had the luck to not lose any of those races. You know what I mean? He put himself in position and he executed perfectly, right? I heard Denny Hamlin say that. You go ahead.
After saying all that, Zach, some people are gonna say he's a championship favorite. It's too early for that. This is the first true proper race of the season. I mean, a road course is pretty proper, but it's not the full kind of season.
This is more NASCAR racing. It's an oval where you race. So
it's an oval. It's TLDR. It's an oval. We've had 2 super speedways, a road course, and now Phoenix. So I think you can't say he's a championship favorite, but Christopher Bell already has 16 playoff points locked up, with his 3 wins, and he has 1 stage win, which was at Phoenix. And that's not even including his regular season championship points that he'll get for his position regular season points. Our friend Jackson Todd does a great job tracking that. He's over on Blue Sky.
I believe him and Byron are it's like him and Byron have a lot of provisional playoff points. They both have 20.
Points. I think it's 26 for Bell and 21 for Byron maybe right now. And then Blaney's third with 8.
You start saying that, Alex, you should TV should start using that. They should call them provisional playoff points.
Yeah,
that's a better way to say it. Provisional playoff points, because provisionally this is how many playoff points they have. Yeah, I like that idea a lot, because you're right. That is how they should show it. And Bell, wait, I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. Keep going.
Well, I was just going to say Bell already has those 16 points, and potentially if he stays up high in the points, he's going to have a lot more. He's already looking pretty good to advance relatively far into the playoffs.
Yeah, round of 8, you can pencil him in, I guess.
Because look, we're only 4 races in. He already has 3 wins. He could have won the Daytona 500 too, by the way. If Cole Custer didn't turn him, he could have won all 4. But the thing is, Bell's going to win more races. I'd be kind of surprised if he doesn't win at least 3 more, honestly.
Never know.
It's possible, right?
Nothing's guaranteed in the sport. You saw Denny Hamlin and William Byron last year. They won half of the first 12 races, and then they did not win again for the rest of the year.
That's true.
NASCAR is weird.
Christopher Bell's very different right now. I think he's kind of the guy.
We thought William Byron was the guy last year, and he wasn't. We thought Denny Hamlin.
Did we?
I've seen this show before.
I don't think we thought that.
I've seen this show before, Alex. I'm not saying that Christopher Bell's not going to win again. I'm just saying, it's just I've seen this before. Yeah. My thing too is,
did you forget again?
Funny. No, I'm having an ADHD moment. Give me a minute.
Take your time.
Listen, I texted you this earlier. You remember all those wins that Christopher Bell kept? He couldn't get in the playoffs, like at Vegas, Homestead.
Yeah,
there's some other races too, and now he's picking up all these wins when they don't matter as much. It's great to be Christopher Bell, but is it really? We'll find out in September and October. So
it'll matter if he keeps up the pace. These wins will add up.
I mean, listen, we know Talladega's in the round of 8. I know. You've watched the playoffs before. It will matter until it doesn't. It just depends on who wins those 3 races, which is the weird part.
But that's the thing. He could have all these points stacked up and then be the guy who makes it on points.
True. If he can do what he's been doing and put together 3 perfect, solid races, which is what he's done the last 3 weeks. So we'll have to see. But, why talk about the championship now? It's March.
Yeah, it's too early to talk about the championship.
It shouldn't be, but it is.
But there are still implications with the championship.
Whatever that means. I have some implications for you, Alex, but I'm going to keep them to myself.
You need to watch your mouth, Zachary. Anyway,
Alexander S. Newgaden. Sorry.
Here is a fun comment from Patreon member Lilith. Says Bell is one of the most talented and cutest drivers to exist. We won. We can agree on that, right, Zach?
That's gay. He called him cute.
That is pretty gay.
That's gay.
I'll take that as a compliment, Lilith, because I've been told I look like Christopher Bell. So thank you.
I would never call another driver cute, especially on a podcast. I would never say that.
Y'all might want to go check out our Atlanta episode with our friend Brooke Curran.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Zach absolutely did not say some things about Carson Hocevar. Anyway, shall we move on? Talk about the finish of this race?
I don't want to talk about men anymore. I don't want to talk about any men. Can we skip to the Katherine Legge segment? No. The finish. Speaking of finishing, so Bell. Speaking of, this is being the first real race of the season. I don't know what you're laughing at. The first real race of the season. Guess who's up front? Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Blaney if he didn't blow an engine, Denny Hamlin, our usual suspects. Josh Berry was up there though, I will say. But yeah, our usual suspects were up front. William Byron too. Like status quo, somewhat still in, status quo. That's what it means. Let's talk about that finish though, because we got to see kind of a three-way duel between Bell, Hamlin, and Larson. It all came down to the teammates off the final corner, and I thought it was really cool to see Hamlin's reaction, like that clip of his in-car audio, and he is just so, you can tell he is pissed because he could have won that race and he didn't. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this was a fun finish. I was fearful that it would take time, but thankfully they got it in one go. A clean finish back-to-back weeks between Coda and now here at Phoenix. It's refreshing. I feel like I say that whenever we have like a clean, finish. But it really was. I'm glad they didn't just wreck, unlike the Xfinity race, which I wasn't a big fan of Eric Almirola doing what he did. But like this was still, it was solid. Like Larson and Hamlin totally could have tried taking out Bell or,
bumping. And like Bell didn't.
And that's the thing. They could have been bumping and banging. It could have still been good. But I think what Almirola did the day before was a bit.
Well, my thing with Almirola is you're playing in the minor leagues and you're a former Cup driver. You're the most experienced driver in the field, potentially, right?
A mid-pack Cup driver at that.
And you're also racing another Cup driver, too. It's like having... And honestly, sometimes I'm like, well, his car did kind of get loose, so maybe he didn't do it on purpose, but I don't know. Like, walling Alex Bowman to win that race is just... It's not cool. Like, you're not showing as much skill as if you would have done it cleanly. It just, you lose, we talk about drivers losing respect for each other. As a fan, I kind of lose respect for Eric Almirola, right?
Yeah. And by the way, Bell did not give Hamlin like an inch, but he still gave him room to race.
Because that's hard
Almirola
racing. That's
did not
putting
do
him
that.
in the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
And Almirola even admitted he was planning to use him up going into that corner, which now I get that if you are an Xfinity driver fighting for the championship at the championship race, I get that. But when you're Eric Almirola, who is a part-timer, who, yes, you're trying to get points for the 19 owner's car, and again, against another Cup driver, it's just like, did you really have to do that? Like, you're here to have fun at this point. You're here to have fun. Like, your career is on the downhill. Like, just do it cleanly, or I don't know. It's a bad look when Eric Almirola does it. If it's a guy like Carson Kvapil, who, I don't think he would ever do that, but someone who hasn't gotten an Xfinity win before, then immediately that looks different. That's to get your first win, get in the playoffs.
If Sheldon Creed had done that after his countless second place finishes, I'd be like, okay, I get it. I get it.
Dude, Sheldon Creed has full permission to dump somebody for a win. I don't care. I don't care how he does it. He has full permission to, because he deserves it. I don't care. Like, he can dump who he wants for the win. God, I hope he gets a win this year too. Oh.
Well, now let's move into some additional notes, highlights. Katherine Legge made her Cup debut.
Yeah.
And it was not good.
Not great. It's not great. I don't care who you are. That was not a great showing. And it pains me to say that.
And we have a Patreon comment from Blake saying, I really wanted Legge to do really well today, and I hate to see so much criticism on social media for her, but this is more of a bad look on NASCAR because of the approvals process. And then Blake says, anybody who thinks she doesn't have the skill should watch her qualifying run for the Indy 500 last year.
I mean,
so Zach,
she had the rear step out on her in an IndyCar going over 200 miles per hour. She knows wheel. She knows wheel. Trust me.
So here's my question, Zach. Should Katherine Legge have been approved to race? It's been a big topic this year, from Mike Wallace, which was stupid, to Elio Castroneves,
stories,
to now with Katherine Legge.
And everyone has an opinion.
Should she have been approved, in your opinion?
I don't think here's the thing. I don't think she had any business being in that Cup race with the context of she was not in that car until Saturday morning. You know what I mean? She had 50 minutes of practice, or was it 25? I don't even know. Not even an hour of practice.
Not a lot.
And then 2 qualifying laps. Like, she had no business being in a NASCAR Cup Series race. And it's not because she's not talented enough. It's because she did not have enough time in that car. The next gen car, the Gen 7 car, whatever you want to call it, it's quirky. It's a quirky little race car. That's challenging. I mean, we saw all the drivers that first week at Fontana. You know, everyone was spinning out.
True.
People that drove in NASCAR for years and years and years. There is a learning curve to a Cup car. To be honest, I think, except, you know, the years of the 550 package, there's always been a learning curve to the Cup car. It's a stock car, already hard to drive. It's the hardest one to drive, or it should be, right?
Yeah.
NASCAR approving her for this race just because it's a short track, and that kind of goes back to, like, you know, Cindric not getting suspended for what happened at Coda. It's like, it's just kind of dumb to me, because this is still a real race. It pays the same amount of points as a 1.5 mile race does. And, you know, yes, she made 2 mistakes. Drivers do make mistakes. At least she didn't junk up, you know, half the field on the back straightaway, right?
Yeah.
But still, it's like, she had no business being in that race. And it's not because she's not talented enough. She is talented enough. NASCAR does not allow her to get, and we talked about this with Elio. Elio did not get the opportunity to actually learn anything at Daytona because there was no track time for him. There was just no track time.
Well, and Katherine had said she only had learned of this opportunity 10 days prior to the race, and she had done some sim laps and everything, and she had talked to some drivers in the garage, and they said, do not make your start at Martinsville. Because it would be really bad.
Because she had to make it at a short track or a road course.
Yeah.
That's where, you know, NASCAR, I get that. I do get it. You know, starting them at a slower tracks, I guess. It's just, Phoenix is still hard. It's still pretty fast.
Yeah.
So it's, and like,
I feel bad for Katherine. This isn't her fault. And I understand why she was approved, because she's been active, unlike Mike Wallace. You know, like, she has been an active driver.
She's
she
a
did
race
last
car
year's
driver.
Indianapolis 500. She did several races in IndyCar last year. She's qualified to do this, right? But I think you're right. There needs to be some sort of, like, do a test session. We'll give you more practice. Something in the middle. And maybe, you know, you have to do the ARCA race that weekend like they did for Elio at Daytona. Something like that. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, let's flip the script. Kyle Larson running the Indy 500, right?
Had a month of practice.
And testing the year before, too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and obviously that's to the very extreme end. It's just like, it just sucks that BJ McLeod and that race team couldn't go to a track for a day to let Kathy get acclimated with the car in real life. You know what I mean? It just got, and I get why NASCAR has such a tight grasp on testing, but that's kind of the drawback, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously rookie drivers, they will go through the ARCA Truck Xfinity Series, but Katherine Legge, I do understand people saying Katherine should have just done an Xfinity race, a truck race, blah, blah, blah. But I think Kathy's eyeing doing the double, to where it's like she's not worried about learning the stock car genre. She wants to learn this car and hyper focus on Charlotte so that she can do good in that race, so that she can do the double. I don't know if
okay.
Yeah. And I don't know if she has because I don't know. The rumors are that she already has a deal in the works. I don't know if that's for this year or next year.
Mm-hmm.
With everything being so sped up, like her getting into a race, it almost sounds like it's for this year, which I don't know. I can see people criticizing her because it's like she made the choice to do a cup race that she wasn't ready for, you know, and I'm saying that respectfully. She just wasn't ready for it.
That's not her fault. It's
and I will say
testing availability.
If she wasn't a woman, no one would care.
Oh, absolutely.
I've said that before on this show, you know, when Natalie Decker was running and Haley Deegan, it's like the women and minorities in general, Jessie Iwuji, who, well, Did he deserve criticism? Sure, but like they're always going to get more negative
Well,
attention
look at Bubba Wallace.
They're easy. Yeah, but they're easy targets. They're very easy targets. If one of us little queer little people got in a race car, we become easy targets. Like it's just because of course gays can't drive or whatever, right? But yeah, again, I don't know. I it would have probably benefited Katherine to do another Xfinity race. Apparently, she has one oval Xfinity start under her belt. I don't know where it was.
Yeah. Well, if you're not familiar with Katherine Legge's game, just want to give you some notes about her career stats. She's on several Indianapolis 500 starts. Again, check out her qualifying run from last year. That was very impressive. She's made one Le Mans start. That was in 2013. She's the first woman to lead that race in history. She has a podium at the Rolex 24. That was in 2018 with Meyer Shank Racing and GTD. And she also has a couple starts in Formula E, which came in 2014 and 2015. She has done such a wide range of things within motorsport that it's honestly really impressive. I think there's a lot of people who couldn't jump from different things like that the way she does. So it's a huge learning curve. I mean, she has this whole background of knowledge on a variety of motorsport.
She is kind of like it reminds me of like when I get in moods in iRacing where I'm just running a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
And I said this before about Katherine. I do wish she would like kind of just focus on something just for her sake. Because I mean, it's hard to be a good race car driver as it is. It's hard to be also a really good one in all these different disciplines. Yeah. But it's also something you kind of have to respect. I mean, we see Kyle Larson do a bunch of different disciplines. You know, they're still all like oval based, but still like he's been hopping around to different stuff. He's won the Rolex 24 before as well. So it's something that's kind of because it's all the same sport. It's all motorsport, but there's all these little different disciplines in it, which is, it's just cool.
Yeah.
And I respect, you have to respect her for it because she's able to drive all these different cars and compete in all these different cars, right? Like not everyone can say that they can do that. So
for sure. Yeah. She just needed more prep time.
Yeah. And I do agree that that's kind of on NASCAR because there's no avenue for guys like Elio, not people that are in the stock car ecosystem, right? Because they're not in the stock car ecosystem. They're 40 years old. They're here to make they're here for the crown jewels. They're here to make a start in the Daytona 500. They're here to start in the Coca-Cola 600. They are here to start in your biggest races. Show them a little respect and let them test. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. Yeah. Josh Berry ran in the top 10 all day. He finished 4th. I think your preseason prediction that he was going to win a race, that's going to come true.
He's winning Martinsville at the end of this month. He's winning by the end of this month. I'm going to tell you right now.
He is exceeding my expectations. Like, wow.
Penske.
Great run.
We said, is Penske going to be fast? Oh, well, Josh Berry was fast. That's a 4th Penske car, man. He had it. He is the man. He is the man. He's winning a damn race this year. Nothing else to say. He's just fast. He's got game. I mean, what he's got. When he wins at Martinsville, I told you so. I told you so. Don't steal my pick when we get there, by the way, for Martinsville. Don't remember that.
I might take a note of that.
Oh my
Alex
God.
Bowman started 32nd, and he barely avoided one of the crashes that were on the straightaway. He ended up finishing 7th. Nice, quiet, clean day for Alex Bowman.
I wish I could have that kind of luck when I do iRacing. I'm the one that barely gets in the wreck. Good for you, Alex Bowman.
Skill issue.
No.
God. Someone who might have a skill issue is Ty Gibbs.
I don't know if I talked about it on our previous attempt of recording, but like the big one that always happens on the backstretch of Phoenix every single year. There's a big one on the backstretch, Xfinity Series, Cup Series. It's just, It's so dumb.
Ty Gibbs is on an abysmal run. I was saying he had a skill issue, maybe. Average finish of 31st since the Charlotte Roval.
Girl.
Wow.
Yikes. I mean, yikes.
He had a 16th place finish at Daytona. And his best finish, excluding Daytona, since October is 25th. He's finished from Coda to the Roval in order, 34th, 32nd, 40th, 32nd, 36th, 30th, and 35th. Yikes. And he
Listen,
crashed I feel like twice or 3 times yesterday too.
he's had a lot of mechanical failures, I feel like, too.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it's just one of those things in racing. You just get bad streaks. This is a really bad one.
This is rough.
I mean, listen. Also, if they just slapped the 18 on the side of that car, that's 5 extra horsepower right there. That's the problem. They need to change the number to 18, and they'll start running better. Yeah, it's just one of those things in racing that just kind of happens, right? Mechanical failures, bad luck. We have had a lot of chaotic races. I mean, to start this season, but at the end of last season, though, it's like, well, 2.5 miles, 2 short tracks. I mean, come on, girl. You're kind of in control of your destiny there.
Last little highlight here. Spire had a pretty strong run on Saturday. They were pretty good in qualifying. They all qualified in the top 10, but didn't really have the race results to show it. Hosefar qualified 3rd, Michael McDowell qualified 7th, and Justin Haley 8th. But they finished 36th, 27th, and 34th. I think Michael McDowell lost 2 tires in this race, and Hosefar and Haley were in incidents.
And that's interesting to me because that shows me that's a setup problem. If you blow a tire twice, that means your car was too hard on the tire. You know what I mean? Because they were also the yellow tires. Thank God they did not blow the red tires, because I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear all that drama.
Yeah.
They can't run softer tires. They're blowing them up. No, he blew the primary tires. So that tells me there's something set up wrong with that car, which I don't know. Rodney Childers is his crew chief. Wait a minute.
Rodney's cooking and qualifying. Give him time.
Yeah, that car was so fast, it was blowing the tires off of it. Carson Hocevar, he got in that wreck, that stupid wreck, because I don't know if they had a pit issue or if I think they had a pit issue and they lost track position, and then they were back there in the storm. What happened to Justin Haley? Did he also get in that wreck?
I think he was in one of those wrecks too. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, thing with Spire though is at least their speed's been pretty consistent over the last few.
Better. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, since the playoffs last year, so hopefully it continues. We'll see what happens, here at Vegas and Homestead.
Yeah.
But they're still looking good. You need speed. Some teams don't have speed. They have speed at least. You gotta start with that. So.
Yeah. Well, let's get into flop of the week, everybody. We've kind of touched on here and there, but Fox Sports, another flop of the week to them. They are definitely the all-time leader in flop of the week. Horrible. Horrible broadcast. I think that first stage was just atrocious.
Just the first stage? Just the first stage?
So listen, Zach, I tuned out. I had it on, but I pulled out my switch for stage 2. So I'm like, I cannot focus just on this right now. Even if the racing was decent, I could not. And I'm not
Phoenix anyways.
So. I'm not going to pull up MRN.
I hate when people suggest
I already got to do enough work to
I hate when people suggest to pull up MRN. I'm not lining this up. I'm not doing that.
No. Too much effort. I shouldn't have to rely on radio to have a good broadcast. Anyway.
No.
We've talked about it a bit, but Fox, they didn't have the tire graphics still. You'd think having IndyCar, they'd have an idea how to do that. They didn't. So many wrong stats. I mentioned earlier, Harvick, they said was the last to win 3 in a row in 2018. That was not true. Mike Joy said this was the closest finish in Phoenix history. That was not true.
Also involving Kevin Harvick, by the way. Kevin Harvick being in the booth for that too is just so funny, because Kevin's probably like,
what are you talking about? Me?
That's not true. That's not true.
And I do want to give credit to Mike Joy. He did correct himself after they came back from commercial after saying that.
Yeah.
Clint Boyer. We got to talk about this man every damn week, and I'm sick of it.
Did he take his medicine yesterday?
Horrible analysis from Clint Boyer. They were talking about when Logano, got penalized, went below and everything. He says, and I quote, "I don't know, Kevin. I don't know." Thank you.
I hate when he gets like that.
Great analysis.
I don't know, man. It's like you want to be funny. You want to not have an opinion, but you want to be funny. I don't know, man. I'm just Clint Boyer. I'm a redneck idiot. I just don't know, man.
Get his ass out of the booth. He's not good at this. how long are we gonna have to deal with this? Another 10 years until he like wants to retire? Like, what are we
And
doing?
he's doing the DW thing where he's like ruining Mike's finishing calls too.
But
Where he's like,
but
don't do it, don't do it.
but Zach, we watched that old Phoenix race the other night together.
Yeah.
We were texting during it, also on Tubi. DW was funny. Maybe it's just like nostalgia. I don't know. But like DW is actually funny. Boyer's just annoying.
Someone mentioned dogs. I don't know if it was Here Comes the Hounds, and then DW's like arf arf, like coming down pit road. DW's like arf arf. DW, definitely, I think later, like mid 2010s, he was getting really annoying. But like Clint Boyer is already there. Like it's just in DW. Like he still had a lot of respect for Mike, and he let him finish calls earlier in his career. You know, like it's just, and I don't even want to get started on Mike Joy because he, again, my opinion on him.
The thing is that DW brought energy to the booth. Clint Boyer doesn't do that. They act like they're commentating golf.
Yeah, he's not that energetic. He's just stupid.
He's just
like, I don't mean actually stupid. He's just annoying and like trying to be funny, but it's not funny. And what I've noticed a lot is Mike will say something. He'll say something like blah, blah, blah. And then he'll leave it open for Kevin and Clint to say something, and they say nothing. And I don't know if it's where Mike just needs to stop letting them have moments. Like he needs to stop giving them opportunities because they're not taking it, and just wait till they interrupt you and have something to say. Because Kevin and Clint, they're just not that very talkative.
They have bad chemistry. We talk about this every week, but I feel like we got to bring it up. So someone's criticizing them. It's so bad. And by the way, the production was atrocious. They need to just clean house. You can keep like your pit reporters, maybe not Regan Smith. Keep all your pit reporters and let Mike Joy do a farewell season or something. Keep Kevin Harvick if you want. Start over. Camera people, production people, direction people. Keep Jamie McMurray. Like, start over.
Kevin Harvick's fine. Jamie McMurray, doesn't he got bills to pay? Jamie can do double duty. He can do CW and Fox. Put Kevin and Jamie in the booth with... Honestly, Mike might be fine still, but I just think Mike needs to retire. I don't know, man. He's just... Again, I don't know if it's a Kevin and Clint problem where Mike's giving them the opportunity to add commentary and then they just don't take that opportunity, or if Mike just needs to realize, okay, they're not going to say anything. Let me keep going. Let me keep anchoring this down because that's my job as the anchor.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm ready for a new booth.
I will say, shout out Larry McReynolds. He was the only one with a microphone who was clocked in yesterday.
What did he say yesterday that made me laugh? He said, it's time to smoke them or something when someone asked if it's time to put on the red tire. He's like, it's time to smoke them.
I remember there was one point, I don't remember what they were talking about the booth, but they were talking about some nonsense, and then Larry they were like, and Larry, what do you think? And he did not acknowledge what they were talking about at all. He was talking about the race again. Love Larry Mack. I think he's still got it.
He's still got it. Put Larry back in the booth. Why do we have to keep talking? Put Larry back in the booth. Larry, Kevin,
he's at the track now. Like, come on.
Larry, Kevin, and I don't know, somebody. Although I do like how Larry is like a rules analyst. Like that does take time. Like you can't really do that and be in the booth. Because we need to analyze these rules apparently in stock car racing. So I don't know.
Well, it's like the moment when Clint's like, I don't know. Larry does
know.
And explained the details and was like, oh. It's like whenever Larry was talking yesterday, I was listening. Stage 2, and I tuned out to play my Switch for a bit. I listened whenever Larry talked because I knew that he was going to say some real stuff. He knew his ball. He knew his game.
Yeah. He
knows ball.
I feel like we've been talking about this in circles over and over so many episodes.
Well, let's go into the tea. Staying on the Fox Sports train a bit here, because NHRA driver Bob Tasca called out Fox Sports. He said that the Fox ads for IndyCar, calling IndyCar the fastest racing on earth, are an insult to NHRA fans and drivers. This is some hot tea.
This is hot tea. I wonder what Travis Shoemake would think about this, and NHRA driver that we've had on, and team owner. I wonder what he would think about this. I kind of agree with Mr. Bob Tasca a little bit. Mostly, and it's mostly because IndyCar doesn't actually use that tagline very well when they open their season at a street course, and our next race is at a road course, and the race after that is at a road course, and the race after that is at a road course. And then we have one fast speedway, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even using the tagline very, and that's not Fox's fault, to be fair, even though it kind of is. They picked the tagline, but like,
I think it's a great
kind of,
tagline, but
it is if it was actually the IndyCar series where we have IndyCar racing at ovals, but we don't.
Yeah.
So
But let's talk about the drama here, because this NHRA driver,
it disrupts some drama.
This did say this, and then NHRA socials posted it, and he mentions Fox Sports by name, by the way.
That
NHRA
NHRA
socials posted this.
That admin was like, "Girl, I'm gonna stir something up right now."
There was a lot of chatter about this. I found it interesting. I think it's a bit dramatic, but I don't want to discourage it a bit. I understand where he's coming from, right? Because NHRA isn't exactly talked about too much, in the grand scheme of things. So
it's very niche. It's a very niche form of motorsport.
Yeah, I mean, when Fox talks all about IndyCar, I mean, they just got it. It's their new baby. They talk about NASCAR all the time, obviously. NHRA is kind of like their stepchild. It's like their third little thing,
Yeah.
So I get the frustration, but I don't think attacking IndyCar is, I don't know.
I saw someone say that. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
This might be what you're going to say. The other thing is NHRA, they go really fast for about, 7 seconds. While IndyCar at Indianapolis, they're doing it for 3 hours.
Yeah. It's just, like, it's different though. It's different.
Yeah. But it's very different. Very different disciplines and skills.
Yeah. It's different. It's weird to compare them. But again, I kind of understand, because it is kind of like, girl, we are literally faster, and we are literally on your network. Like,
No, I get it.
But what other tagline is Fox going to use for IndyCar? We have the most diverse drivers. We have the most diverse schedule. Like, you got to use something that common people are going to be like, oh yeah, IndyCar is the fastest circuit racing on earth.
Mm-hmm.
At one track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know. It is what it is. Do you want to talk about what happened with AO Racing?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
It was a little weird. The teeth thing. The teeth. Someone put teeth on their, I don't even know if it was a Mazda or a Porsche, on their street car. Someone put teeth on their street car in response to one of AO's Racing's posts, because they put their Sebring livery. Rexy has braces now, apparently.
If you don't know what AO Racing is, they're the IMSA team that has like teeth on the front of their cars. They have Rex. They have several different names for their cars, Rexy and
the green Porsche that looks like a dinosaur. It's really cute. Yeah. They also have a purple LMP2 that's Spike. It's a dragon.
Spike. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cute. So AO Racing was like, and I guess it's deleted now. I can't even find it. But they were like, in response to that fan that put teeth on their car, they're like, actually, please don't do that, because our livery is copyrighted and blah, 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 and whatever it was. It's been deleted. I can't even pull it up. I would pull it up if I could, but it's deleted. And that started a whole uproar of people being like, dude, they're literally like paying tribute to your team.
Yeah.
And there is no copyright. That's just modifying a street car. They're not trying to sell it or whatever. There's no copyright there. You're just being weird. And I think it definitely got blown up a little bit bigger than it should have.
Oh, definitely.
I think it was just a bit of a misunderstanding from the social admin, but then they doubled down on it with a statement, which was kind of weird, because they're saying yes, you can put teeth on your street car, but our liveries and characters like Rexy are the result of years of creativity, investment, and dedication. As with any brand, we have protections in place, blah, blah, blah. So they couldn't, and they use the example of if you put teeth on your street car, well, what if your street car with the teeth on it, that looks like Rexy, what if it gets involved in an accident? Blah, blah, blah.
So weird.
People dress their cars up as Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon, and
let people have fun. I think this is so overblown.
Weird.
I feel like they could have this would be a non-story if the social admin was just like, oh, this is awesome. Thank you for your support. Non-story. But now we have all this negative publicity for them. I don't.
Yeah.
This is so unnecessary, and to double down on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you really want to fight tooth and nail for your copyright of your teeth on your car, but like that's not a new thing either. Like this is the most
that
unique version, but
I
there's a
saw
lot
that
of
too.
like several cars.
There's been other teams, and I thought I put it. Oh, I did. I put the statement on the screen for our video listeners if you want to take a look at it. Well, while y'all are reading that, there's other teams that put teeth on their car years and years and years ago. So no, this is not your original idea that people can't copy. You copied it. Like, Alex, I said this Saturday. On Saturday, I said, y'all are being too mean to AO Racing. It's not that big of a deal. I still kind of feel like that because, like, girl, who cares?
Yeah,
It's this over a dinosaur car. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is, I don't know. I just feel like they're being really rude to their fans. Yeah. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think they should have ever done the initial comment in the first place. They should have just said, "This is awesome."
100.
Like, wow, you're such a dedicated fan. Thank you for saying this. Like,
because they are one of the most popular sports car teams. Kids love them. I mean, it's big with the kids. It's honestly probably gotten a lot of new fans into the sport with their little dinosaur cars. Honestly, for IMSA, they have a responsibility. I mean, and that's definitely, they did a little bit of, they talk about protecting their brand. They did damage to their brand with this whole little fiasco, which is kind of sad to see, but I'm ready to ignore it and just move on.
Yeah,
because
I don't think it's that big of a deal, but yeah,
there's worse things a race team could do. I don't know. It's just so weird.
Yeah.
Speaking of, can I actually go ahead and talk about Sebring now since we're on IMSA?
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, not to throw you off the dock, but the 12 Hours of Sebring is next week, and we're going to talk about the race on next week's episode, along with NASCAR at Vegas. And I'm just excited because, again, as I said, at our first episode of the year after the Daytona 24, I'm trying to follow IMSA a bit more closely this year. As we go into Sebring, last year's winners, Wayne Taylor Racing, they're trying to repeat as Sebring. Porsche Penske also was on the podium. And I think the big question going into Sebring is BMW going to be fast again, right? Because it was kind of a BMW versus Porsche battle for a lot of that race. Meyer-Shank too as well. Is BMW going to continue their really fast pace? How are they going to be at Sebring? Aston Martin is debuting their car in IMSA competition in the GTP class for the first time. That'll be a story to watch over the weekend. So yeah, excited for Sebring. Gonna try to watch all 12 hours. I'll have the Xfinity race on, when that's on too. But yeah,
I'm excited. I know it's on Saturday if you're interested.
Yes, I love it. It used to be on my birthday weekend a few years, but I like how it's not this year because my birthday weekend I'm busy because I'm celebrating. Right now I get to just focus on it and watch it. And I know that we've said Petit Le Mans has Southern 500 vibes.
Yeah.
But Sebring is Darlington of sports car racing. You know what I mean? Like it's Darlington.
Really rough track.
It's very historical. Like it's just a very historical venue, just like Darlington. It's Darlington, it is Darlington. So it's one of the coolest races of the year that honestly, I feel like I don't have as much of respect for it because again, I haven't gotten to watch the race that much in my life because my birthday was always on that weekend. So hopefully I can really enjoy it this year. So
on top of that, the F1 season opener is also this weekend.
I ain't staying up for that.
Yeah. I want to watch Lewis at Ferrari. I don't know if I'm going to stay up for this though.
Lewis, what if he wins?
I know, and
I have to watch now. I'm messing up my entire sleep schedule for this for Lewis Hamilton. I don't think, honestly, I love Kyle Larson, but I think Lewis Hamilton I have such a love for because I know he would love me back.
Right.
I'm not saying Kyle Larson wouldn't love me back, but like Lewis Hamilton is Lewis Hamilton, man. He's just got so much power.
I get it.
Oh, I love it.
And obviously NASCAR is at Las Vegas. Zach, you got the fantasy point. Christopher Bell.
Actually, I got the 3 points. Thanks. Early win in the season. Felt good, I'll tell you what. But here's the thing, though. With our new format where we can't cancel each other's picks out, I'm expecting this to be a high point scoring season for both of us. So
True. We should go back and look later on, see like if this is our highest point scored season toward the end of the year. That'd be fun.
yeah. I know. Hey, you're gonna have a trouble topping your 2023 though, because remember how you kept winning races like at the end of the season.
I won a lot of races at the end of that year. I picked Blaney this weekend, and Blaney finished 28th. Yeah. Zack has 4 points. I have 2. You get 1 point for having the better finisher, but you get 3 if you win. And Zack, I'm going to go with Christopher Bell, if you can believe it.
Oh, wait, I'm not disappointed about that. That was my second pick.
Yeah, I'm going with Bell for Las Vegas. Who do you got?
You're going to be shocked. I'm going to pick Kyle Larson.
Wow. Bold.
I get picking Christopher Bell. If you were going to pick Larson, I was going to pick Bell. I was fine with picking either of these guys. Larson, I mean, Hendrick, they've just had the 1.5 mile speed. Larson, especially just here at Vegas. I mean, he's won so many times at Vegas, like since joining Hendrick. I've lost count at least 3 times. I have a mini Kyle. You can't see it here. I have a mini Kyle that they sent me right here from his victory lane picture. Kyle Larson, I think that's if I can't pick Christopher Bell, I think he's probably the best one I can pick. I thought about Tyler Reddick.
Fair.
Watch Tyler Reddick. I guess William Byron, but again, like he'll be up there, but I don't expect him to win. You know what I mean?
I want to say you could watch Hamlin, but I don't know. Maybe.
I think he'll be up there. Yeah. He was showing pretty good speed
and then my question mark is Penske. They usually do better at like Phoenix and then Vegas, and
this is kind of their weakness.
Well, they also do better in the fall, is my other point. Because Logano won the fall race, and that was kind of like that put him into the Champ 4, obviously. But I don't know if I would pick Penske right now at 1.5 miles.
Just early in the season.
Just because last year Ford didn't win for a very long time, and we might see that again this year. We'll see. But Ford kind of starts cooking like when you get to the summer.
Yeah. Penske too. Like Penske, I almost wonder, are they just very experimental at these beginning races?
Maybe.
But I mean, Joey did have speed yesterday. Like, I mean, he had
Josh
enough.
Berry did too.
Yeah. So it's like
Blaney did too. I'd say Cindric was leading a bit when he was on the option tires.
Yeah. So it's like, sure. I don't know. We'll have to find out. This is our first intermediate track race of the year, and I will say though, sure, if you're good here, it is what it is. But most of the tracks in the playoffs are short tracks, so there's definitely a weight to. There's a weight. There's different weights to being good at short tracks and speedways. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the status quo. I'm expecting the status quo to remain the same. My dog's barking at me. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Well,
he's like, wrap this up, Alex. Wrap it up.
Well, let's wrap it up, Remy. Let's wrap it up. We have a kind comment on Apple Podcasts from Dallas Danger. You can leave a 5-star written review on Apple.
Sorry?
We'll read yours.
Dallas Danger?
Yeah.
I hope that's their real name. That is dope. That sounds like a superhero. Dallas Danger.
Dallas says,
it's like Henry Danger.
He says, I love your podcast because it offers a great, unique perspective. I'm getting back into racing after 20 years or so away.
Girl, you finally got away from it. Why would you come back?
I left my racing fandom behind because it's not always a safe and diverse place. Finding you two on Blue Sky has helped me be comfortable being a fan again. So thanks for that. And keep up the great work. Thank you, Dallas.
Stop.
Aw.
There's tears in my eyes. What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't think we're why they came back, but we're why they felt comfortable to come back.
I love that.
The hell?
And
what does that mean?
As he said, we are on Blue Sky at Newgaden and Dreamy Zack Racing. All the socials are that at Gay Racing Pod for Blue Sky, TikTok, and Instagram. Thank you to our Patreon subscribers. If you want to join in the little mailbag comments that we had, that's patreon.com/gayracingpod. Rate us 5 stars on Apple, like we said there, or on Spotify. And consider liking and subscribing on YouTube. Helps us a lot. And I believe that's it, Zach.
Yeah.
Another episode done.
We'll be back next week. Oh my God, we're approaching episode 200. That's going to be soon. We'll be back next week to talk about Las Vegas, NASCAR Las Vegas, the 12 hours of Sebring, and we'll talk about F1 if Lewis wins.
Yeah.
Or if Max does something stupid, because I like hating on him.
If Oscar Piastri wins, I want to talk about that.
Girl,
I like Oscar.
There you go, being gay again. You and your men. This guy's cute. Let's talk about him. If you want to see cute people win, watch NASCAR. Duh. It's worked so far. It's worked the last 3 weeks.
I would say watch cute people win and watch IndyCar, but that's never on.
It's never.
So I got to wait another week for IndyCar.
Why? I know this will probably be a logistical nightmare, but what if IndyCar raced at Sebring the day after the 12 hours?
What I was suggesting was IndyCar should run the Saturday night at Phoenix.
True.
I think that would have been cool. Sebring, I don't know. I
don't know the logistics behind that.
Yeah.
Well, they test there. They can race there if they test there. It's too rough. True. You're ready for Formula One. The track's too rough. We can't handle the bumps. We'll see you guys next time. Let me get out of here before I make fun of Alex anymore. Bye, y'all.
Bye.